of wide sympathies for every man. And I do have a way of, when I was very young, I provoked and threw shit at the camera, very visually and physically and verbally. So there's a way of doing that a little bit more subtly. So I called it Catholic. In my head, I said, it's Catholic. And everyone was saying, don't fucking call it that. I says, yeah, but it is, but in the true essence of it. And the more people said no, the more I liked it. And then I said, what am I going to put on the cover? And I had this image in my head. It had to be iconic. And I thought, first of all, I'm sleeping. It's like sleep, because there's a sort of a cinematic, dreamlike score feeling to the album. And I said, no, maybe I'm rising from the dead. And with all this drama in my head. And the photograph was only taken last December. And around that time, there was an exhibition in Ireland, in Dublin, in the Hugh Lane Gallery, actually, called Passion in Politics. And it was by a very famous painter called Sir John Lavery, who, when we got our first Irish pound note, he designed them. But he used to paint portraits of political leaders and great writers and great statesmen of Ireland. And I went to this exhibition. At the same time, the IMF were in the country, and the country had gone bankrupt and everything was falling down. And I went in and I saw this Ireland of images of men just before they folded the tricolour up and gave it to the Catholic Church, of great statesmen and a dignity. This is what it could have been. And they shot that man. And then it all went a bit pear-shaped. So when I saw this image, I just went, that's the cover. But instinctively, it's like, I wasn't even thinking of, this is all retrospective, that's the cover. It's like when I was a kid, and I turned on the telly and I said, that's him, I am him. And it was David Bowie looking like some sort of moon, space age, man, woman, Martian. I didn't know what he was talking about. Or when I saw, like, I talked about how much I love the music of Kurt Weill and the Weimar period and Brecht. But I remember my first introduction to that was almost like Cabaret by Liza Minnelli, which is almost like a Glee version of Kurt Weill. But I went, I understand everything they're doing. And it's like 10 years later you do. So is it not the role of painters and musicians and writers and movie makers to sort of put down on paper or music or paint or photography what's in the air, the molecules that's happening? And I went, I'm going to instate, lying in state. I quite like the arrogance and the humour of putting oneself lying in state. I says, the fuckers who hate me will hate me even more. Great, go for it. And it said more for the whole Catholic thing. So it wasn't exactly for political reasons. It was for dramatic, emotional, and just these little things happened at the same time. And I think a lot of people, when they're making stuff, they don't really know what they're doing. They're sort of following an instinct.
That's true, but if I look at the painting of where Michael Collins is lying on the deathbed with a cross and with the flag of Ireland, and then with you lying there, it's really big. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it is big.
Yeah.
In Ireland, I think, because I think he's some sort of iconic figure.
Absolutely. No, there's no disrespect there.
No, don't you? What do you think people will think?
I don't really know, because I had very little. I go home to Ireland tomorrow night and I start my Irish press. I'll fucking tell you in a week's time. But I know that one of the tabloids, and they just printed the whole bullshit thing, big picture of that, and they had banned, and they just said I was anti the Catholic Church, anti paedophiles, they didn't even hear the album. And I just laughed. I didn't even answer it. But I'll find out when I go and see. I actually think, I know from my friends and different people that go to my website, they like it. I think they like it. I think the country's so fucked up. It's not too worried about somebody like Gavin Friday doing that. But we wait and see. I mean, some people are, am I offending Republicans? Am I offending Protestants? Am I offending, the church? If I am, hard luck.
I don't think you will be shot for this cover.
Hopefully not.
No.
They don't do that anymore.
No.
It's only a cover.
Yeah.
And
it was a joke, of course.
yeah, but you know what? Isn't that what an album cover should be? It should be something that pulls you in, that tells you, wants you to make what's going on. I mean, I bought albums in the 70s as a kid. I walked into a record store and I looked up the wall and I said, who is that? And I picked it up and I turned around and I saw this writing like I never saw in my life. I couldn't understand it. And it was Patti Smith, Horses. Mapplethorpe took the photograph. And this cover, I mean, why did David Bowie put a stripe on his face on Aladdin Sane? You walk in, who is that? And that's really that old school side of me. Loves that provocative, enticing melodrama that music should be.